Hi guys, this is Jake at Canadian Cutting Edge, and today we're taking a look at a cute little pocket knife. Well, it's not so cute, it's very standard actually. It's a slip joint in the classic style by Sanrenmu, less than 3 inches on the blade. So it works in almost every jurisdiction that I know of. And you've got wood inlay, real wood. You can get it in this lighter color wood, or you can get it in a black wood. And the other option is to get an all steel version of this for just a tiny bit less than the wooden ones cost. So this is your classic take your knife in your lunch pail to work, even in an office, slice up your apple, your pear, whatever. If you bring fresh fruit, fresh vegetables in your lunch and you like to cut them up, this is the kind of knife that is a classic for that kind of job, and for, innumerable other tasks. It doesn't look like a weapon. It doesn't look dangerous, and yet it's absolutely functional. And if you are interested at all in looking for a low-cost knife, we're talking 8 something Canadian, 6 something US, I think it is. $7. $7 US, 880 Canadian, something like that. So if you're in the market for a really nice, low budget, small knife, if you lose it, it's not that big a deal. Stick around for the full review to check this thing out in more detail. This is, I think, a beautiful little minimalist kind of knife that's very well executed. The 7065 SUC-XL is the brown inlay wood. SUC-XH is the black inlay wood, and the all steel one is the RUC-SA. The all steel one is just a little bit cheaper. And, that's just the way it is with the way prices go sometimes. It might not seem to make sense, but it is what it is, right? So we've got a nice little thin knife, sort of a pen knife kind of style, hollow grind on the blade. You've got a drop point on the tip there, a nail nick. Of course, it's a slip joint, which means this spring, you can see the spring here, comes up right there. And then when you straighten it out, the spring goes back right flat with the rest of it. So you can see how that works. So this is actually a spring that holds it in the open position. So I wouldn't say it locks it, but it holds it very snugly in that open position. You have to push quite hard to get it to start moving. There's no stop point anywhere along, but once you get past 90, you start getting in the danger zone because the spring's going to take over and suck it in at some point. There you go. And you can't just trust it at any point. So you should always have your fingers clear of this zone here, except for when it's in the open position, clicked open. Now it's quite secure. And when you're using your knife, it's very rare that anything touches the back of it here. And if it does, it springs back, unless it hits it very hard and sends it way over the halfway point, all the way up to, where it's just got, 30 degrees or something, and then the spring pulls it in. Very safe knife design, although a lot of guys, especially in the West, are very much against slip joints just because they don't have the life experience with them as guys like in the UK do, where, your only choice is to carry a knife with a slip joint. You can own other knives, but you just can't carry them around in public anywhere. So, UK guys are just totally used to, guys and gals, slip joints, and you use them safely, and they're easy to use safely. Make your own choice. I'm not going to tell you what to do. I'm not going to tell you you should buy a slip joint knife or you should not buy a slip joint knife. I'm telling you what it is, and I'm telling you that once you get experience with it, it can be safe, and it can be, quite safe. I think it's very safe. Back to the knife, we've got their logo right there, Sanrenmu, and then there's the model number etched into the steel, acid etched, I believe. We've got steel bolsters front and back. and then the wood has little brass pins to hold it in. I'm sure they've got some kind of epoxy in there as well. And the fit and finish on this is very, very good. I'm back home again, and so I'm going to take some close-up shots and show you how good the fit and finish is with these lines here where the wood meets the metal, and those joint lines should be nice and tight. And I'm going to take some pictures and let you see that. We've got a nice little sharpener's choil in here. That's a good thing. Slip joints tend to rub a little bit, and that's why you see, these marks right here, these scratch marks already on the blade, because I've used this on the ricasso section of the blade, because I've used it several times. I've opened and closed it many times. Let's talk about all the specs of this thing. We've got 8CR13 MOV steel. We've got it's probably a 3CR13 for the handle, but they don't say, so it's just a cheap stainless steel for the handle and the body and the spring and all of that stuff. 8CR13 MOV is usually around a 57 Rockwell hardness. The cutting edge, 6.2 centimeters, 2.45 inches. The blade length, so from the end of the handle to the tip of the blade, is 7 centimeters, which is 2.75 inches. The blade thickness is 2.3 millimeters, which is 0.09 inches. The thickness of the edge behind the grind, so we've got a hollow grind, and then we've got a nice final little micro bevel along the edge. You can see it a little bit more closer to the tip. That's only 0.43, That's only 0.43 millimeters thick, which is perfect for a light little knife like this. That's in imperial measurements 0.0165 inches. The handle length is 9 centimeters, 3.5 inches. The grip area, so where this corner meets this corner here, not meets, the distance between them is 8.5 centimeters, 3.3 inches. The thickness of your handle right here is 7.7 millimeters, 0.3 of an inch. The total length of this knife when it's open is 16 centimeters, 6.25 inches. It weighs 52 grams, which is 1.8 ounces. It's an inexpensive knife, as I said at the beginning. In Canadian dollars, you're talking about $8.86, $8.60 for the all-steel version, and then you have to pay a little over $3 shipping for the knife. If you buy 2 of them, you can say that shipping gets split in half, and it's about $1.50 on each knife. It's always good, if you're going to buy some of these things, buy 3 or 4 of them. They make great stocking stuffers, great gifts. And when you do that, your cost of shipping per knife goes way down. And, so $3 for shipping 4 knives is much better than $3 for shipping 1 knife, right? So there you go. In US dollars, it's about $7 to buy this, and about $2.60 to ship it. The all steel one is about $6.80 and about the same price for shipping it. So that's that stuff. Now let's get how it feels in the hand and how it works and stuff. I talked about that spring. It locks up very well. It works wonderfully. It cuts great. I'll show you that later. The lanyard hole is in a wonderful position. I hate it when knives have them too far into the handle. I like them when they're nice and close to the end. I would have liked maybe a little bit of a bevel there or something, but it's good enough. And you can fit 550 paracord through there if you're careful. Maybe the 7-strand, the 9-strand or 10-strand stuff, maybe not so much. It locks up or closes up. The lineup is not quite even. It's not totally in the middle. It's a little off to one side when it's closed. It's really hard to adjust it on one of these knives where you don't have any screws or anything to take apart. It just sort of is what it is. It doesn't actually touch any edges. It doesn't rub anywhere. It just, sits a little off to one side, tiny bit. Not a big deal. This nail nick is almost not even necessary. Because of this hollow grind, you can just grab it on both sides, with your fingertips, your thumb tip and your fingertip, and just lift it out. Of course, you can use the nail nick and open it that way if you want to. It's not really necessary. One of the beauties of a knife like this, not having any thumb stud in the way, is when you go slicing through things, it's not going to catch on anything. It just cuts right through. And this hollow grind, it cuts really, really well. Let's do some cut tests and show you how well it cuts. Here I've got this 1-inch wide banding that we use for molly and that kind of thing. And watch this. Just zips right through it, no problem. Let's show you that with some paracord. I like to do a paracord cut test. Let's give you 4 layers of paracord here to do a cut test on, right? There's 4 strands of paracord right there, and it just zips right through it, no problems at all. You know, when you go to cut it, it just slices through very easily, no problems. It just slices right through whatever you're cutting. It's a great little user knife for that kind of stuff. Let's do some cut tests here and see how this cuts. Wow, that's really good. Okay, it's not perfect. I'm sorry, guys. I forgot to do the cut test before I used the knife. So it's a little duller than it is brand new, but it's very sharp. And, you know, it catches on your nail nick. If you want to do the nail nick test, it just catches and doesn't slide anywhere. Great grip. And you should know how to sharpen a knife. If you have knives, you need to know how to sharpen your knives, right? So this knife is quite easy to sharpen, easy to maintain, easy to use. What do I like and not like? I like that it's got a nice little sharpness choil on there. I like that it's very light, 52 grams, 1.8 ounces, really, really easy to use. It's great for, you know, putting your lunch kit or whatever, that kind of use, or just dropping in your pocket and, you know, you just leave it there and forget it until you need a knife and you pull her out and use it. It has a really nice, simple elegance. The price is excellent. The spring strength is really good for a slip joint. You know, it's a functional knife that looks excellent. And it's for its price point, it is excellent in my opinion. To brief little aside for, I'm just going to ramble for just a little while. My job is not to convince you to buy a knife. That's not my job. And that's not what I'm trying to do. What I'm trying to do is tell you as much about the knife as I can and my personal opinion about the knife and the objective things about the knife as well, so that you can then make up your own mind if you want to buy it or not. You know, it's not up to me to tell you to buy it or not buy it. I see my role as one of giving you information so that you can make up your own mind. If you don't like this kind of knife, you don't have to tell me in the comments. That's totally fine. You don't have to like it. It's not my job to convince you that it's a good knife that you should like either. You know, just like I don't want to convince you to buy it, I don't want to convince you to like it. You like what you like. I like what I like. And I just share it with you guys. And that's my job. And that's how I see my job too. That's this knife in a nutshell. I think it's a very functional knife. It's a good budget choice. If you're looking for something like this, it will have the limitations that slip joints have. These little scratches here, that's perfectly normal on a slip joint knife, especially a ultra budget one like this one. If you've decided, hey, I want to buy that knife, you can support Canadian Cutting Edge by looking in the description below and use my links to go to GearBest and buy this knife. Thanks so much for watching. Thanks for liking, sharing, commenting, subscribing, all that other good stuff. I really like your comments, and I like interacting with you guys. Remember, guys, always cut towards your chum and not your thumb.